I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me It's gonna take some time to get there. It's gonna take some time, but I know that beauty lives in me.
Oh, hey, buddy. Do I have something you want? I'll hang out with your buddy.
In a cage, hungry hearts in a rage, glowing eyes in a daze, turning around in a hurry, hoping you will come along. I'm running as fast as I can, in a desperate need of a plan. It's the work of one little man. I'm fading out from the story. Am I a passionate man?
So from my last adventure in Big Bend, as I was heading back towards San Antonio, I came across the Pecos River Bridge, and I thought it was a pretty stunning sight. It's a relatively large river that flows into the Rio Grande just southeast of El Paso. My plan was to stay at Amistad National Recreational Area, which is on Highway 90 just east of Big Bend. I had my meal planned, and just kidding. This wasn't my meal. This was actually a TikTok that I did directing it to a friend of mine who has another channel. What I had was pulled pork that was provided by my mom before I headed out to Big Bend. As anyone knows who's watched at least 2 or more of my episodes, they know that I definitely enjoy capturing the sunrises and sunsets. I want to share that beauty with you and have the opportunity to do so through this venue. But one of the things that I found particularly stunning was when I was observing the area after the sunset. I guess that I was on something of a plateau, and that there was still some elevation where the sun set on my level, but there was still plenty of light, because it seemed like it was light for quite a while, giving me an opportunity to get this really, really beautiful shot that I was able to also add on TikTok and Instagram. The next morning I was able to capture this beautiful shot that kind of reminded me of images that I've seen from the Alamo, the Battle of the Alamo. Quick shot of the area in which I stayed, and then I hit the road. As you remember from the Lost Oak series, while I was working on the build, I needed to have access in order to connect the gas to the stove. Wanted to show you that real quick, just a real quick setup on the stove, and then I took an opportunity to make some coffee. One of the funny things that I was noticing, kind of as I was going back and doing some editing on this, is that the adage, a watched pot never boils. And if you notice, by the time that I finally stopped looking at the pot and sat down, that's when it started boiling in order for me to make my coffee. The stove that I use is called Fire Sergeant by Coleman, and it is a 2-burner with also grill opportunities as well. So it's a really nice stove. And the coffee maker that I use is called a AeroPress. It's similar to a French press, but instead of the coffee being in the water being pressed out, it is above a filter and the water is pressed through to the cup. It was about this point that I started to realize that there's a lot more to this than I anticipated. I'm not saying that I'm overwhelmed. What I am saying is that there's a lot more moving parts with the expectation of doing what it is that I'm doing than I thought. And part of that is, for instance, being at this location. And if you think you just heard gunfire in the background, you did. And there was some irony in that too, because I thought it was kind of funny that only in Texas, at a state park where you think you're going to be at a serene location, do you hear gunfire, which apparently there's a shooting range just up the hill. I basically began to realize, while I was getting all of my items charged, which was the reason that I went to the Blanco State Park, I needed to get my items charged. I needed everything to be charged 100%, which is to say that, my Jackery and then all of the items that I need on a daily basis, everything at 100%. And it's not a bad idea, especially if there's Wi-Fi at the location or it has good cell service, to utilize a state park, because at that point I can charge everything, make sure that my water's topped off, and also get some editing done that otherwise I would be doing kind of piecemeal, especially if I'm in an area that doesn't have service and I need specific music that I'm looking for or whatever. In that case, I need to, I need the Wi-Fi, or I need the service. So I just have to kind of balance that, and that's something that I'm learning how to do. A lot more comfortable now finding BLM land, so that I know exactly what areas I can stay, without any recourse. I definitely don't want that knock on the window. I've had it, don't enjoy it. Not many people who live this life do. But I just basically am saying that getting out to Big Bend, going through Amistad, staying at the Blanco National Park or State Park, it has frustrated me in the past, whereas now I'm basically accepting it as is. And if I need to, it's very easy to pull into a Walmart parking lot, move my stuff around, climb it back, go to sleep, or I can go to Cracker Barrel, I can go to any of the truck stops and do exactly the same thing. And that's as a kind of even the roadside parks, rest stops that allow overnight parking. And there are a few. Johnson City is one of them. Where I did where I made the coffee. That's where I was videoing that from, Johnson City State Park, or rest stop on 290 between Johnson City and Fredericksburg. And so, there are other options to kind of take it in stride, so that I don't get frustrated, even though sometimes I may come across as frustrated on video based on what I'm saying. I'm learning to accept it and learning to kind of keep my chi balanced. I don't want to get upset over something, especially if it's something that I cannot control. And one would think that, it wouldn't be something that I'm learning now. Technically, I'm not really learning it. I'm just practicing it more effectively. It's still, it's something that I've known my whole life. It's not, for me, it's a skill, to chill, if you will, to not worry about something, especially that you can't control, and basically let it go. I'm just continuing to practice it, just like anybody else. Where I worked for quite a while.
like to be somewhere. Now, anyway, you didn't see that. The car that just flew past me. So right here on this side of the building, where I camped for close to a year, right along the wildlife preserve. This is the area that the Forestry Service, what it says their domain. But what I wanted to do was drive through to show the proximity to McKinney Falls, or excuse me, McKinney Falls State Park. McKinney Roughs is out towards Bastrop, so McKinney Falls State Park. And I've heard a lot of good things about McKinney Falls State Park. One thing, if you like to be able to camp near a location that has water available, then it is definitely a good spot to be. And that definitely falls in my purview. So I wanted to show how close to my former employment, how close to that location I am to McKinney Falls State Park. And because I was committed to my former employer, I stayed in the parking lot. But what would have been nice would have been to be able to go to McKinney Falls State Park and camp. And I'm going to wander out into the camping area and see what they have available. See if I can get a map or get some information or whatever. And just like that, we are there. I don't. I was gonna actually look, if you don't mind, at the campsites and see if there's something I could choose. Okay. So we're still open till 10. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I'm not sure anything availability until Wednesday night.
Oh man.
Don't get taken.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Wow. So, nothing available until Wednesday. State Park. In the city, I get it. No biggie. But, anyway, here we go. Let me regroup. Oh, I wish perfection was my forte. This said Upper McKinney Falls. There we go. It's a shot. I mean, I've never actually been in this area, so I have no idea what to expect. But what I would like to do is find a spot to relax for an hour or so before I head back to San Antonio. The area looks beautiful. How frustrating is it that all of the space is not available? Like if I wanted to sleep the night, why in the world couldn't I find a corner off over here, like
lift so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, really wanna know if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down,